It's Tim with the University of Vinyl. I am back today with a new video and wanted to take a look actually at 1 month in 1985. You know, 1985 was a big year for me. I was a freshman in college and starting to kind of branch out as far as music was concerned. Definitely a couple roommates that I had brought in their record collections. We were in a three-room suite, so we had two people in one side of the dorm room, two people in the other side, with a shared community living room. And I remember we had two different turntables in that dorm room. Anyway, I digress. 1985, in September, there were 3 pivotal albums released, and those are the ones I would like to talk about today. I originally was thinking about doing, my favorite 10 albums of 1985, and then when I started researching it, I realized, wow, September, 3 of the albums I was going to feature anyway came out in the same month. 2 were recorded in the same recording studio. So, without further delay, let's talk about September 1985. If you follow my channel and have watched a few of my videos, you know that Husker Du is one of my favorite bands of all time. And I actually became aware of Husker Du in 1985 when I was a freshman in college. I had a roommate who had a couple LPs, and I got kind of turned on to the band. So, Bob Mould, Grant Hart, Greg Norton, just a fantastic power trio. They're legendary. Most people in the VC know of and or appreciate Husker Du. But in 1985, in September, they released the second album that they would release in 1985. First of all, there was New Day Rising, and because I'm focused on the month of September, I'm not going to talk about New Day Rising. I have talked about New Day Rising before in other videos, but that just kind of tells you a little bit about the caliber of this band. They were releasing incredible suites of music. 1985, 2 fantastic albums, and that second album, which was released in September, of course, is Flip Your Wig. Now, Flip Your Wig, during the recording of this album, Husker Du signed with Warner Brothers, and they were really being pressured. Warner Brothers wanted to release this as the debut Husker Du album on the Warner Brothers label. The band felt obliged to release that album with SST, who had brought them along the previous years and had helped them, especially producer Spot, along the way. So Flip Your Wig was actually released as the final SST album for Husker Du. And, a little over a year since the double album Zen Arcade, they had managed to record and release New Day Rising and now Flip Your Wig. Flip Your Wig, Mould has said in interviews, he thinks it's the strongest Husker Du album they ever released. I actually prefer New Day Rising a little bit over this album, but that is not saying that Flip Your Wig is anything less extraordinary. So talking about this album, this thing, there are 14 songs in a mere 40 minutes on this album, and Mould and Grant Hart, of course, alternated on songwriting duties for the songs that were released on all of the Husker Du albums. This is no different. 2 of my favorite songs on this album are actually Grant Hart penned songs. Flexible Flyer and Green Eyes, just incredible, propulsive songs. Intense but melodic. The melody comes through, and Grant Hart's drumming, he's one of the best drummers on record, in my opinion. His drumming is just amazing. He knows how to propel a song. Let's just put it that way. Side 2 features 4 of the best songs on the album. There is Grant Hart's Flexible Flyer, followed by Mold's Private Plane. And then, kind of curiously enough, the last 2 songs on the album are both instrumentals. Instrumentals for the most part. The Wit and the Wisdom is an intense song, and it does feature some kind of background, some kind of vocal styling by Mold that is hard to kind of pinpoint. And then finally, Don't Know Yet is just an out-and-out instrumental. So kind of a weird way to end this album. But famously, this of course features Makes No Sense at All, which was released as a single. And Husker Du did their first video as well ever. And they got a lot of national airplay in 1985 with that single. So this was a big success. The final album released on SST. They would go on to record Candy Apple Gray, first song that appeared on the Warner Brothers label for Husker Du. But the second album released in 1985 in September, this is Flip Your Wig, a incredible standout album in their discography. That other fantastic band from Minneapolis, The Replacements, also released an incredible album in September of 1985. It was their debut major label album, appearing on Sire, and that, of course, is Tim. This is an original pressing. It sounds fantastic on that Sire label. I do have, I've got 2 different reissues. Neither of them sound as hot. Neither have the same kind of amount of intensity and slam and soundstage that the OG has. So if you are interested in this album, I would go on Discogs or keep your eyes open. It's not easy to find. I actually found this from a local seller here in my area, who happened to have this copy, and I'm really pleased to have this. So back to this album. They recorded it at Nicolette Studios in Uptown Minneapolis, the same studios that Husker Du had previously used for the recording of Flip Your Wig. So as soon as Husker Du wrapped up Flip Your Wig sessions, as far as I can tell, the Replacements moved into Nicolette Studios and started working on Tim. And this is an incredible Replacements album. Paul Westerberg, lead songwriter, of course, lead singer, was really flexing his wings, and there are tons of influences on this album that Westerberg was drawing from, including Alex Chilton and Big Star, and all the way to Nick Lowe. And this album was doing so well and generating so much buzz in the music community that they ended up on really an incredible episode of Saturday Night Live. There is a famous story, apparently the Pointer Sisters had pulled out at the last minute for a Saturday Night Live episode. G.E. Smith was the band leader for Saturday Night Live, and I found an incredible interview on YouTube that I'm just going to segue to right now and let him finish the story.
That's one of the bands I definitely pushed to get them on. I think the record companies were probably putting, in those days, the record companies would also be bombarding the show because it was where you could showcase a new act or an act that had a record coming out. And they came on. Now, I'm not talking out of school when I say they were known as a drinking band. And on Thursday, they had kept themselves together pretty good. at camera blocking. They were another band that was not happy about having to play the song several times in a row. But Paul Westerberg is enough of a pro that he got them through it. I love his writing. I love their songs, the sound of that band. And Saturday, they did the dress rehearsal, and it was okay. But when it got to the air show, by then it had been too long in the dressing room and too much beer. And the guitar player actually fell down on the way out to the stage and fell on his guitar and broke his guitar. And I think I gave him one of mine to play or something. There was a guitar that was around and we gave it to him to play, and he played on that. And they still sounded great because they were used to playing that sloppy drunk. You know, they were used to that, so they were fine. But there were some scary moments before some of the guest bands got
So on that Saturday Night Live episode, the band performed "Bastards of Young" with that, featuring that incredible Bob Weston lead-off guitar riff, and then also "Kiss Me on the Bus." But those are, of course, two of the stronger songs. There are also many others, including "Here Comes a Regular." That closes out the album. It is kind of an ode to, Minneapolis Watering Hole, legendary bar, to CC Club. Left of the Dial is kind of written about college radio stations, and, college radio was very, very important to the Replacements and REM and Robin Hitchcock back in the day. College radio stations were typically left of the dial if you're looking on the FM radio dial. Probably within my two favorite Replacement albums, this is Tim, released in September 1985 on Sire. Finally, there was The Hole of the Moon, the absolutely fantastic Waterboys album, released in September 1985. I have an original pressing of this album as well. It was on the Island label, kind of that turquoise Island label in 1985. That's how it looked like. And, what can we say about the Waterboys? Mike Scott, what an incredible kind of genius poet Mike Scott is. And he really brought the Waterboys into incredible prominence with this album. To this day, Bono says this is in his top 10 as far as albums are concerned. And this contains the big hit, The Hole of the Moon, kind of an anthemic, great sounding song. And when we talk about anthemic, it really does apply to this album. Mike Scott, he brought a big sound to this album. They really wanted to try and make an impact, and they did. This was the last album Carl Wallinger appeared on. He would leave and, of course, form World Party. There are other great songs on this album, not only The Hole of the Moon, but Old England. Features probably my favorite Mike Scott vocal performance. It's a political song about England, of course. And then the last song on the album, if we're going to use the adjective anthemic, that applies to the title track, This Is the Sea. So this is a great album. Also not easy to find. I don't see it out there a lot. I just happened to get lucky at the Denver Record Show that I attended a couple months ago, and this was one of the pickups of that show. This is the Sea by the Waterboys, released in September 1985. That's it for today, everybody. I really wanted to kind of focus on these three albums, released in a single month in 1985, and that month, of course, was September. Flip Your Wig, Tim, and This Is the Sea. Thanks again for watching. If you have not subscribed to the channel and you like what I'm doing, by all means, take a second and click that subscribe button. It would be really appreciated. And also click like if you like the video. I'm going to be back real soon. I have been a little bit busy over the last 10 days. I've had a bunch of crazy stuff going on with work. And then this weekend I got caught up, of course, watching the Masters, which I love to watch as much as possible. But I've got more videos coming soon. Stay tuned. And thanks again.